Creek versus Pleasant Hill.
Yeah.
And the answer I got was no, it's pretty much the same cost to build the same floor plan anywhere. So
That was the answer you got when you were talking to John before you told me
yes,
that?
yes. And I
Okay.
and I went back over the weekend and spent a lot more time with John on this topic because I thought I had this conversation with him, but it sounds like we came to the agreement that we both didn't spend enough time on it and didn't pursue it further. So it turns out, I give him the information, the price out, what it's going to be with the same floor plan, two different communities, and it's a $76,000 increase to build the same plan in Fall Creek. And when we were out in Fall Creek just last Friday, everything in the world was an issue. Like, oh, well, there is a train, and there's, the water is going to come into our yard. And I had Troy, I believe, out there. He's kind of like the guy to talk about all the topography and figure out the basements and all of that good stuff. And he reassured them because he was just right there, kind of overheard our conversation. He's like, yeah, that waterway is not going to be an issue. But long story short, they called Brady, and Brady, like, jump in anytime, correct me if I'm wrong. They called Brady and they asked, like, hey, or I don't know, I guess how that conversation went, or maybe they texted you, Brady, but they took up the issue with him that, hey, why is it a $17,000 increase to build the same house in Fall Creek versus Pleasant Hill, Marshfield? And so Brady called me and we kind of had this conversation. We went step through step on the mark systems. And so what I learned was the base price, it will put everything into it. The cost of the lots versus the base premium of the home. And then the lot premium is a totally different thing, the 3,000 or whatever. It doesn't seem to go up in 5. That's a totally different animal. And so I just didn't have that information that we do have to account for the lot cost, lot price, whatever it cost us. And that's kind of what Brady was explaining, that, well, it's going to be like a $35,000 to $45,000 increase.
No, it's well, yes, you're right. But what I was explaining to her, Aaron, is that depending on the neighborhood, like
Right.
where there's more sought after lots, Bolivar's cheaper than Springfield. Springfield's, roughly the same price as Nixa. Rogersville's more expensive as you go out to Marshfield's less expensive than
I just
Rogers.
didn't have any of those numbers. Like, all
Yes.
I had was the mark systems and the little window that pops up with your base price, your lot price, and your upgraded features.
Yep. And what I explained to her is like the lot premium would be like as if there was a model of car that had a trim that was more valuable and it was scarce, so people wanted it more, that car's probably
Sure.
going to be priced a little bit
And
higher.
that's why I had that conversation with John, was, so it's the same cost to build the same floor plan here as it is in Rogersville. Yes. And following up with John, it turns out we just didn't spend enough time to get to the bottom of well, there's a lot cost. And in Rogersville, that's going to be your 35 to 45 additional grand. But on the mark systems, it just puts everything into the base price of the home versus breaking it down to, land cost. So that's where kind of, I guess, the confusion, or I didn't dig deeper and John didn't go deeper. So we just ended up not pursuing that conversation any further when we probably should have. So.
Okay, let me just take a step backwards before we take a step forward. Okay. So let me explain how base prices work. Okay. So base prices are all the items on the included features list.
And where I get the base price is, again, mark systems, the little window that pops up, and it breaks down all the costs. So I'm only working off of that. That's why I didn't have a follow-up question on, well, how much did the land cost? Because it's just not listed on there. That's why that question never came.
So let me finish this. So It's all of the items on the included feature list for any of the plans, right? Which is the same list of features on every single floor plan, right? Plus the cost of the average home site in the community.
See, and that's the piece that was missing.
Yeah, and this is always how base prices are. Like all of the builders that I work with, this is how it's always set up. This is how we did it at Shaw Homes. This is how all like bigger builders set it up.
And that would be the common sense. That's why I had that conversation with John initially, is so it is the same cost to do the same floor plan. And because we were talking specifically about this.
Yeah, no, I hear exactly what you're saying, Natalia. Let me explain this further. So this, if I'm gonna like talk about it this way, this is like the bricks and sticks and the shingles and etc., right? All of the items on the included features list is like the cabinets, the countertops, right? When I build an amethyst, I buy the same amount of concrete every time. I buy the same number of 2x4s. I buy the same number of 2x12s. I buy the same number of shingles, the same number of sheets of drywall. I buy the same number of cabinets and the same sizes of cabinets. I buy the same number of doors, right? So like all the sticks and the bricks and the things it takes to build a home, that price is 100% identical, doesn't matter what neighborhood I'm in. But the base price consists of more than that. The base price also consists of the average priced home site in that neighborhood. And for example, in Bolivar, and I'm going to make up numbers because I can't tell you what the numbers are off the top of my head. Don't ever quote these numbers. These are example making it up. Let's just say that, okay, I'm going to name different neighborhoods. I'm going to do like all builders name neighborhoods. Let's say Aspen Meadows is one neighborhood, because we always name neighborhoods after whatever we tore down to build it that no longer exists. There are no Aspens and there are no Meadows anymore. It's a neighborhood, right?
Oh, like Section 8 Meadows.
So let's call it Aspen Meadows. Maybe the average home site in there is $25,000. And then Fox Crossing, because the fox no longer are there because we took away the entire habitat they lived in. So we'll call this one Fox Crossing. Oh, Aaron, you're so cynical. I'm sorry. I'm just real. And then so Fox Meadows, let's say those are 50,000, right? And then you have the estates at Whitetail Ridge. Oh, you like that, Brady. I know you do. And those are 80,000. Whoa, 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 whoa. Back up, Aaron. Those are $80,000. Well, if I'm looking at Aspen Meadows and I'm looking at the estates at Whitetail Ridge, well, then what's the difference between 25,000 and 80,000?
Well, when I didn't have those numbers, because Brady was trying to figure it out too, like working through all the numbers, and I'm like, Brady, what number are you working with? Because I didn't have those, so I could not communicate that
I'm going to show you in Mark Systems. Let me show you in Mark Systems how easy this is to look this up.
Okay, perfect.
Because there is an easy way for you to go back and forth. So
Okay.
I'll open Mark Systems. It'll take a minute here, but give me a second and I'll get it going.
Okay.
But so the difference between, these two communities would be $55,000.
Sure.
Even though all the bricks and sticks cost the same amount.
Makes sense.
Now let's talk about how home site premiums work. What was the key word that I had right here?
Average.
Average. What are home site premiums?
The premiums anywhere from like 500 to 3,000.
Right.
Like conceptually.
So here's the thing, not every piece of land is the same. Right? Let me pull up
The home site disclaimer.
Let me pull this up real quick. Let's go to your website. Okay. I'll just use this for an example. All right. Let's look at these home sites, and this could be any home site in America, okay? This one right here, this home site number 28, let me just zoom in on it for a second. It's 70 feet across the back. Actually, let me use a different one here. Let's use this one. It's 85 feet wide here, but it's 109 feet deep here. And it's 95 across the back, and it's 142 here. So it's really shallow on this side. It's much deeper. It's 33 feet deeper on this side. But if I just go, it's on average 85 by 120. I'm doing math. It's 85 by 120. That's a 10,200 square foot home site. 10,200 square foot. Remember that number for a minute, Natalia. Okay. Now, if I look at this home site right here, number 24, it's, call it 50 plus another 30. It's 80 feet wide, right? It's calling out two measurements. This is 80 feet wide by 300, and we'll just say 340 feet deep. That home site, number 24, is 27,200 square feet. What was the first one? 10,700. This one's 27,200. And I think you're going to have a customer walk in a minute and you're going to have to go. But that's 3 times the size that home site is. Which one is worth more? Right? So a premium, right? A premium, obviously, and that's an exaggerated version of this, and that's why I wanted to show it to you. Is it's a very
and I get that, like that.
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with that whatsoever, Aaron. I get that. It's just we never had the conversation on the cost of that lot, not the premium, but the cost.
Yeah.
And that's where the confusion came in. I do have folks coming in. I'll jump back on.
No
Sorry.
problem. All right. See ya.
Thank you. See ya.
Go get them, Tiger. Go get them.